The stars weren't kind that night. Kayla Storm landed on Kalitha's cracked surface, her ship's underbelly scraping against the rough terrain. The ship shuddered with a final sigh, throwing her body forward, straps digging into her chest. She wasn't sure whether the crash or the silence that followed was worse. Rule 1: no one dies today, except maybe me. She glanced at her reflection in the cracked viewport, barely visible. Her shirt was torn, her boots caked in dirt and alien muck. Her hands twitched, itching to feel the weight of her weapons. But there was a catch, a game she had to play, because if she didn't, she'd never leave this planet alive. And if she didn't stick to the rule, well, she'd be one of the lucky ones. Kayla ripped the door open. The stench of burnt ozone hit her nose as a blast of fire greeted her. The battlefield was chaotic, 2 factions of Kalitha's citizens engaged in a violent war, each fighting for control of their dying world. But they weren't her problem. Not yet. No, her problem was the AI that had hijacked the whole damn planet, and Zorak, the ruler who wanted her dead on sight. She adjusted the blindfold over her eyes, tying it tight, the fabric pressing against her forehead. This was it. The start of the absurdity. The challenge had been simple: don't kill anything in battle, unless it's on fire and says something nice about her. The universe had an odd sense of humor when it came to her rules. There was no finesse to it. Just chaos. She leapt from the ship, rolling across the rough terrain, and hit the ground running. The moment her boots touched the dirt, alien soldiers charged, weapon fire slamming into the rocks nearby. No hesitation. She moved like a shadow, speed, reflexes, and gut instinct. Without sight, her senses heightened. A soldier lunged at her, a jagged blade raised. Kayla didn't flinch. With a swift jab to the side, her knee hit him in the ribs. The breath left him in a loud, painful whoosh. Was that a compliment? She muttered, knowing it had to be. The rules were stupid, but they were the only chance she had. She ducked under another swing, twisted his wrist until he dropped the weapon, then slapped a hand over his mouth and shoved him into the dirt. You can't kill someone without their permission, but if they're really impressed, it's like the universe is giving you the green light, she quipped to herself. She'd made her peace with the absurdity long ago. Another figure came at her, a towering warrior with glowing skin. She heard his footsteps, heavy and purposeful. There was a split second when she thought maybe, just maybe, he was just going to pass by. But of course not. With a growl, the alien raised his energy spear. Kayla stepped aside, catching the spear with a sharp twist of her body. The spearhead buzzed with a violent crackle, the air around it sparking. You fight well, the alien growled, baring sharp teeth. Bingo! The energy spear hummed, its heat radiating through the air. Kayla dropped to the ground, using her momentum to twist it out of his hands. But you're still ugly as hell, she shot back, using the alien's own weapon to swing at his knees. He collapsed, and she promptly kicked him in the face. Fire? Check. Compliment? Check. Before he could get up, she buried the spear in the ground beside him, just enough to remind him she was not someone to mess with. Have a nice day, she said, and turned away. But her attention was immediately caught by a new sound, the soft clinking of boots against the ground, gentle but steady. She had a new opponent. A real one. The kind who could match her wit, or maybe even surpass it. Talu. A young rebel. She was a blur of motion, slipping between rocks and making no noise at all. The girl was like a ghost. The rebel leader's daughter, Kayla had heard of her, but never met her in person. The girl had big ideas about saving the galaxy, and Kayla wasn't sure how to feel about that. She wasn't sure how to feel about much anymore. You're the legendary Kayla Storm? Tala's voice was filled with an emotion Kayla hadn't heard in years, admiration. Wow. I thought you'd be more grumpy. Kayla blinked, wondering if she had misheard. Grumpy? Yeah, well, I've been shot at a lot, kid. Grumpy's part of the package deal. Tala laughed, unfazed by the sarcasm. Your reputation precedes you. She extended a hand, No weapon, no challenge. Just a gesture of peace. Kayla didn't take the hand, but she didn't pull away either. "You're from Earth, right?" Tallow asked, stepping closer. "I've heard stories." Kayla snorted, brushing a lock of hair from her face. "You heard the wrong ones. Probably better you stay away from me." Tallow's eyes softened. "Why?" "You're a hero to a lot of people." A quiet beat passed between them. Kayla stared, feeling the weight of the words, of the stares she'd received when she walked into the rebel base. But this girl, this rebel, was different. She wasn't afraid of Kayla. She wasn't afraid of anything. Kayla's pulse quickened. The girl didn't see the monster. She saw Kayla. She saw the broken soldier who hadn't given up yet. Kayla adjusted her blindfold again, more to calm her nerves than anything else. "Yeah, well, keep your distance," she muttered, taking a step back. "I don't need anyone thinking I'm their savior. Not anymore." Just as the words left her mouth, a roar split the air. Zorak. The bastard had decided it was time to meet her. Without missing a beat, Kayla tossed Tallow a blaster. "You'll need this. Stay alive, kid. I'll keep you in the loop." "Wait," Tallow called after her, but Kayla was already sprinting, drawn to the war zone. She wasn't sure if it was the fight she needed, or the distraction. As the first explosions rang out, Kayla threw herself into the fray, feeling the chaos swallow her whole. The universe had a way of complicating things, but one thing was certain, she wasn't going down without a fight. And this time, she wouldn't be alone. Not anymore. The rubble from the battle still smoldered, smoke curling up into the sky like dying spirits. Kayla Storm stood at the edge of the crater, her blindfold still firmly in place, her hand on the hilt of her plasma sword. The battlefield had quieted, but the tension in the air only thickened, like the planet itself was holding its breath. Somewhere in the distance, Tallow was leading the remaining survivors to shelter, her orders clear. "You've done enough," Kayla muttered to herself, stepping into the darkened ruins of the rebel camp. She was tired, bruised, and her mind kept drifting back to that damn compliment. "You fight well." God, how pathetic. The weight of the compliment felt like an anchor dragging her deeper into the flood of her memories. Every failed mission. Every war she'd fought and lost. Humanity had abandoned her. And she'd let them. So why was she still here? The truth hit her like a cold slap, she didn't know how to stop. She had a rule. Don't kill unless they say something nice and catch fire. And yet, here she was. Still fighting. Always fighting. Just follow the damn prophecy, she muttered, trying to shake off the weight of her own thoughts. Her boots kicked at the dirt as she made her way toward Tallow. The rebel leader's daughter had insisted on taking Kayla to their safe house, which, from the looks of things, was a glorified underground bunker with a broken ventilation system. The dim light flickered as Kayla stepped inside. Tallow was there, crouched next to a fire, her face lit by the weak glow. The alien girl didn't look like a soldier. She looked like a dreamer, a survivor, still clinging to the idea that the galaxy wasn't as screwed up as it seemed. "You're alive," Tallow said, smiling as if she hadn't just witnessed Kayla decimate 100 warriors earlier that day. "Yep. And I'm starting to think maybe that's the real tragedy," Kayla replied, her tone sharp. She wasn't in the mood for hero worship. Not now. Tallow handed her a ration pack. "I heard you recited poetry before the AI wiped out Zorak's first wave. It worked. The AI couldn't process the emotional chaos." "Great, I'm a walking firewall," Kayla said, ripping open the ration pack. "Can we just not talk about poetry?" It was a desperate move, all right? "Why poetry?" Tallow asked, curious. "I mean, it worked. Because when you're fighting AI, you can't just use brute force. You have to confuse them. Make them think you're a malfunction. It's a trick we used on Earth, right before they called me the failure." Tallow raised an eyebrow. "They called you that?" Kayla's jaw tightened. "Yeah. Everyone did. Not that it matters. You don't need to know my story. But Tala wasn't backing off. But I do. I need to understand why you're still fighting. You don't need anyone to tell you what to do, but you're not alone anymore. Kayla dropped the ration pack into her lap. What's the difference? No one cares. I wasn't born to be a leader. I'm not some prophecy. Tala's eyes narrowed. But you are the prophecy, Kayla. That's the whole point. Kayla stopped, feeling something sharp twist in her chest. She looked away, unsure of how to respond. Prophecy? What kind of cosmic joke was that? I'm not your hero, she muttered, her voice thick with the weight of years spent carrying the title of failure. I'm just trying to stay alive long enough to get a drink. Tala sat down beside her. You're not alone in this fight. I know you've been fighting alone for so long, but you don't have to. We can still change things. We have a chance to save this galaxy. Kayla snorted. A chance? With Zorak breathing down our necks? There's no we. She swallowed the anger building in her throat. You think you know me, but you don't. This whole rebellion thing, it's a pipe dream. You'll get people killed. Tala didn't back down. Maybe, but we have to try. There was silence for a beat. Kayla felt the weight of Tala's words hanging in the air like a bitter fog. Her walls were crumbling, bit by bit, but she wasn't ready to admit it yet. Not to herself, and definitely not to this bright-eyed alien who seemed so eager to build a future that Kayla couldn't even see. Tala's voice broke through the silence again. You don't have to do this alone, Kayla. No one else can carry this burden for you, but we can carry it with you. Kayla turned sharply, her face hardened. She could see it now, the trust in Tala's eyes. The belief that somehow, they could win. That she could be more than just a weapon in a galaxy that would never accept her. And for a fleeting moment, Kayla wanted to believe it too. She rose abruptly, her chair scraping across the floor. I didn't ask for your pity, she snapped, her voice cracking like a whip. I didn't ask to be anyone's savior. But there was something different in her voice. The anger was fading, replaced by something else, something deep and buried beneath the years of rejection. She wasn't sure what it was, but it didn't scare her as much as it used to. The fire flickered, casting shadows on the walls. Kayla looked down at Talu, and for the first time, the absurdity of it all hit her. She wasn't alone. Maybe she never had been. You're right about one thing, Kayla said, her voice quieter now, a slight crack in the hardened armor she'd spent years building. I'm not your hero. But maybe I can be part of the fight. Tala smiled, like she'd just won a small victory. Good. Let's get started then. Kayla exhaled, the weight of the world still pressing on her shoulders, but for the first time, it didn't feel like she was carrying it alone. She might not be anyone's hero. But maybe, just maybe, she could fight for something worth saving. The planet trembled underfoot. Kayla could feel it through the soles of her boots as she stood at the edge of the massive citadel of Zorak, watching the artificial sun sink beneath the horizon. The sky was a sickly purple hue, the last rays of light bleeding out into the fractured landscape like the dying embers of a fire. Time's running out, Tala's voice crackled through the comms. We can't hold off the AI purge much longer. Zorak's got the whole fleet prepped for activation. Kayla didn't answer right away. She didn't need to. Tala knew she was listening. The countdown in her mind echoed louder than the ticking clock on her wrist. Zorak had no idea who he was messing with. The problem was, neither did she. The AI purge. Zorak's final act to wipe out humanity, her humanity, from the galaxy. To stop it, she needed to disable the central core that powered the entire operation. But the core was buried deep within the citadel, surrounded by his best warriors and the deadliest security measures. Not to mention, Zorak himself. The man had been hunting her since the prophecy was first whispered across the stars. But this time, it wasn't just her. This time, she had a reason to fight. She wasn't the lone wolf anymore. She wasn't the failure who had only ever been good for one thing, killing. She had something to lose. And that, Kayla knew, made all the difference. No one dies today. But she wasn't sure anymore. Not with the galaxy hanging in the balance. She tapped the comm, her voice tight. "You ready, kid?" The reply came through clear. "Always." Kayla turned her head toward the entrance of the citadel. It loomed before her, towering and cold, its sleek metallic walls reflecting the dim light. Inside? Nothing but chaos. But that was where she thrived. She was chaos incarnate. She had to be. With a quick glance back at the rebel team, Kayla stepped forward, taking the first step toward Zorak's throne room. Her blindfold remained in place, the fabric taut against her brow. If she was going to die today, at least she would die her way, on her terms, with her absurd rules. But there was no time for that now. Zorak was waiting. He always was. The hallway stretched out before her like the maw of a beast, its metallic walls shimmering under harsh, artificial lighting. Kayla's pulse thudded in her ears as she moved swiftly, her steps measured and sure. She could feel the tension in the air, a thin layer of static. Her instincts screamed at her, this was where everything could fall apart. "You look like you've seen a ghost," a voice said from behind. Kayla spun, her hand moving instinctively to her plasma rifle. Talu was there, just behind her, a little too cheerful for someone about to face their possible death. "Just make sure you don't shoot me in the back, kid," Kayla muttered, a sharp edge in her voice. Tala grinned, undeterred. "No promises." The absurdity of the situation wasn't lost on Kayla. Here she was, about to face Zorak, the one who had promised her death, and the girl beside her was still smiling. It felt wrong, too hopeful. But the smile was contagious. Kayla felt her lips twitch, a fleeting thing she quickly pushed down. She was in control. She had to be. The Citadel's heart was near. They reached a massive door, thick with reinforced steel. Kayla paused for only a moment, her hand on the handle. The countdown in her mind was already in the final seconds. She knew what she had to do. "Ready?" Tala asked, her voice serious now. Kayla didn't answer. She kicked the door open. Inside, Zorak stood tall, his back to them. His imposing figure filled the room, surrounded by holographic images of the galaxy, war plans, and the AI's active map of their position. He was the ruler of this place, a god in his own eyes. But today, he would meet his match. "You think you can stop me?" Zorak's voice was smooth, dripping with arrogance as he turned toward them. "I've seen the future, Kayla Storm. Your death has already been written." Kayla didn't flinch. She stood tall, blindfolded, and with every ounce of sarcasm she could muster, she replied, "Good. Saves me the trouble of doing it myself." Tala raised her weapon, firing at Zorak's guards, the chaos erupting instantly. Explosions lit up the room as Kayla sprinted toward the central console, her every movement a dance of precision. Zorak didn't move. He just stood there, his eyes narrowing. "You truly believe you can stop me?" Kayla grinned, a sharp, sarcastic laugh escaping her lips. "Well, when the odds are this bad, I like my chances. Besides, who else is going to take down a pompous ass like you?" And with that, she made the final move. The core was exposed, glowing, humming with power. Kayla pulled out the detonator, her finger hovering over the button. She felt it then, the weight of her decision, the gravity of it all. It wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about more. More than just fighting. More than just killing. "Kayla," Tala's voice was distant. "You don't have to." "I do," Kayla said, her voice rough but steady. "This ends now." The explosion echoed through the citadel as the core overloaded, sending ripples through the system. Kayla and Tala both hit the ground, the blast throwing them backward. The sound was deafening, the world shaking around them as the AI's control finally shattered. Kayla pulled herself to her feet, breathless. Her ribs ached. Her chest burned. The world around her was silence. The world was broken. But for the first time in years, Kayla didn't feel the weight of it alone. Tala stood beside her, her eyes wide but steady. "You did it." Kayla wiped the sweat from her forehead, a slow, tired smile forming on her lips. "Yeah, but not just me." She glanced over her shoulder, the massive wreckage of the citadel looming behind her. "We did." For the first time in forever, she didn't need to fight alone. And that, she realized, was worth more than any prophecy. The galaxy would keep turning. But for Kayla Storm, this chapter was over. And it was time to start a new one.